Good afternoon, Facebook. It's your girl, Katrece Raine, bringing you the first episode of the Katrece Raine Show for 2017. We're here at 1305 31st Street in Oakland, a site where, of course, you know, on December 3rd, the ghost ship compound was set ablaze. Unfortunately, during that time, 36 lives were lost. Today, we're going to do an interview with Shelly Mack, a former resident of the ghost ship. Now, this is a controversial interview, and unfortunately, because she has received death threats, we will be unable to interview her here at the ghost ship. So, we hope that you'll tune in for the second part of the interview, and please know that Katrece Raine is here for the community. If there is a topic that you would like to share for us to bring to light, we'd like for you to contact the Katrece Raine Show so we can bring it to the forefront. Again, the Katrece Raine Show is here for the community. Today, our focus is the ghost ship. We want some answers for what has happened in Oakland. The tragic lives of 36 people were lost. And this time, today, we will get an inside view of the actual conditions of the ghost ship as a resident. So we hope you'll stay tuned for that interview. We're on our way to meet Shelly Mack now, and we'll be back for part 2 of the ghost ship interview. We want answers. Hey, it's your girl, Katrece Raine, coming back for episode 2 of the Katrece Raine Show, the interview with Shelly Mack, former resident of the ghost ship of Oakland. If you could just explain to our viewers your background, your history right now, and how you actually became a resident at the ghost ship.
I grew up here in the Bay Area for most of my life, a short stint on the East Coast, but mostly here in the Bay Area. I have been making jewelry since I was in about 6th grade, off and on throughout my life. And I lost my previous place because, of course, the rent went up sky high and I couldn't afford it. So I looked around to try to find some places. This became available. I saw an ad on Facebook, one of the rental groups, and they mentioned that, you know, it was an opportunity to live and work there. It was a 24-hour studio, and they were giving a tour the next day. So I went the next day, and when I went there, just to be clear, it looked a lot like the pictures that you see, that you're seeing, not the ones I've shown, but the pictures that you see on the news, etc. Okay. Nice, very, you know, kitschy, very artistic, much cleaner. And they, you know, talked about what they were going to do. You pay, my rent was $565. They wanted you to pay that and an equal amount of deposit. And which is, we made payment arrangements on the deposit, so I was paying like $750 a month. After I moved in, they brung up the fact that I was supposed to pay an equal amount toward the upkeep and you know, construction of the area, which would be improvements like electric, like running water, like a second bathroom, like it being clean and bringing it up to code. So they were telling you all this stuff that they were going to do with your money. So it sounded exciting. The people seemed cool initially, and it was an opportunity for me to move in and be able to have my pets, you know, without paying pet rent because they don't have jobs. So I went to the tour. It looked like an opportunity to have a cheap place to live and an opportunity to sell my work and collaborate with other people on film and jewelry and a lot of other things we talked about. But a couple of weeks after I moved in, I came home and the electricity was off. Everything was off. And when I asked why there was no PG&E, why they didn't call PG&E to fix it, because we had no heat, it was 30, 40 degrees. That's when I found out it was illegal.
Okay. Let me ask. So you mentioned that a part of your rent or your deposit was to go towards making it up to code. So right. When you initially responded to the ad, did they tell you that this was an illegal housing community?
No. When I say bring it up to code, that's in retrospect. Okay. At the time, the money was just to improve the place. Okay. So, you know, I've been to other warehouses. They were a lot different than this one. Okay. But it was that the money was going toward. This is how it was phrased. The money was going toward the group as a whole. It was non-refundable, and it was to make improvements to the place, not to bring it up to code, because at that time I did not know it was not within code.
Okay. So let me ask, in comparison to the rent at the Ghost Ship, on Zillow, it stated that the average rent price in the Bay Area, Oakland alone, is $2,800 a month. Now, a lot of people can't afford that, and over the last 5 years, the rent increased 70%. So with that said, do you find that, and we'll get back to your story at the Ghost Ship, but do you find that there are more illegal housing communities opening up because the rent is just skyrocketing?
Oh, sure. This is not even my only illegal rental.
Okay.
The one prior to that, my landlord tried to climb in the window 3 times. I had him arrested 3 times trying to climb in through the window to sexually assault me.
Wow.
So that was prior to this place, when I lost my place that was illegal. It was an illegal rental, and I ended up staying with my son for a while, and then moving to this place. So initially, when I lost my place in Hayward, the rent went from like $1,250 to $1,500 in 1 month. And then when I moved, they raised it another $200 or $300, so it was like $1,800 at that time for an old apartment building, not a new one. This is old, and this was 2-3 years ago. So I think that the market makes people open to be victims.
Right.
You find most of Craigslist is full of scammers, either trying to get your number or trying to get your money, or either whether you're looking for a place or whether you have a place available, they're just trying to get information. So it's a lot of scams going on. I think that this housing market, which Oakland has done nothing to address until it was already too late, makes ripe opportunity for victims that love Oakland, want to live in Oakland, but can't afford to live in Oakland. I could tell you that a lot of people that love Oakland don't live here anymore. Right? I love Oakland, but I don't live here anymore. Can't afford to. Right?
Yeah. So let me ask, so just to give an insight of what the compound actually looked like you said, we've seen pictures on the news.
Thank God I took those pictures.
Right. We've seen pictures on the news. So from what I see, there were sculptures, there were musical instruments, there were acting props. The building was set as a warehouse. So when you moved in, did Derek Almena or even Mr. Ng or Mrs. Ng, the owners of the building, did they ever try to come to the building and alert or at least find out what was happening in the building?
Yeah, they would come every month to collect rent. So the daughter would come with the mother. We would always know in advance. And that's when I found out that we weren't supposed to be living there, because Derek told us we had to hide all of our things too, so it didn't look like we were living there. That was never explained to me before.
Okay.
Up until that time.
Wait, did people comply? Did people comply
yes.
with it? Okay.
And he would pull not just the people that lived there, but just pull people in off the street. Because when there's an event or they're doing tours for potential, renters, they clean it all up and they move all that crap outside. That's why the stuff is outside on the side lot, because normally it's inside. Okay. So it's that place, everything you see plus everything inside. Okay. So as soon as the event's over, they move it out, and then. So they don't. So we know they always let us know when they're going to come. Housing would let us know. She would let us know. We would know days ahead of time. Okay. So they would just pull everybody in, and they would work 24 hours around the clock to get it just perfect for her. Okay. But even though she can't speak English, she was there. She's got eyes. She knows there was no sprinklers. She knows there was no alarms. There was no fire extinguishers that I knew of. So she knew.
Okay, so in doing some research, we found out that the Ings were actually fined $6,800 back in 2014 because it was not up to code as a warehouse, let alone being a residential area. She did end up paying that amount. But with you moving in, you said you lived there from October 2014 to the beginning part of 2015. In looking, there was a staircase fire in that building in 2014. Were you there when that occurred?
I was there when at least 2 or 3 other fires were there. So 2 weeks after I moved in there, the transformer blew and caught on fire. When I came home, that's why it was dark.
Okay.
We'd blown a transformer. When I found out it was an illegal hookup, they're like, okay, this is illegal, we can't let PG know, but it was 30, 40 degrees in there. We needed heat in there like ASAP.
Right.
I have asthma, I can't breathe cold air. So everybody had to chip in to buy a new transformer.
Wow.
And
these are artists that are already somewhat struggling financially.
A lot of them were working outside of their art, and we all had income. So everybody, some of them had decent incomes. I was working full time, and everybody chipped in. So yeah, we were struggling, but we were paying rent in excess of what rent they were paying. Plus, they were doing events on a regular basis, bringing in $1,000, $2,000, $3,000.
So, in listening to Derek Elmina's statements, he said that there was no profit being made.
Yes, there was profit.
Were you paying in cash, and how was it being tracked?
Cash. And
did he give you receipts?
No. And when he didn't, the next time, and then he was trying to say because I was demanding all these things that I was told I was paying for, he tried to say I wasn't paying. And I actually paid 1 month with a money order, that I have the receipt somewhere. I have the money order. But we were paying in cash. Most people were paying cash or money order. And then he paid the landlord. And I think when I had to do the money order, it was made out to the landlord, not to him.
So let me ask, not to offend any of the residents, but I have to ask because it's been a question on Facebook. A lot of people are saying that this was actually a homeless encampment.
No.
Now, can you explain? Now, there's two sides to every story. I've heard that there were lawyers living there. There were teachers living there. So tell us what the truth was about the residency there.
So whoever was saying it was a homeless encampment, did not live there, did not spend any time there. It was not a homeless encampment. These were artists, most of them artists. He did bring in homeless people off the street to do his dirty work, which is not the same thing as a homeless encampment.
When you say dirty work, what do you mean?
Like threaten people, pull guns on people, beat people up, things like that.
So are you saying that the level of professionalism by Derek or anyone that was managing, there was no level?
Okay. He's a crazy maniac, Charles Manson kind of guy.
Okay.
He's a meth head. He's a drug addict. He did drugs with a lot of people there. I know for a fact because they came and told me. We did a couple drug interventions when he was there.
Wow.
He didn't do any managing of the place. In fact, he made it impossible to do any improvements because he spent all the money, extra money on drugs. Now, he collected money. He's got 25 people I heard in there the last time. We had half that. Everybody paying $500-$600 at least a month. Times 10 is how much?
Yeah.
Okay.
A lot, yeah.
So if the rent was $4,500, and you have an event that costs $2,500, and a week later another event that costs $1,500 for the promoter to rent the place, not including the door.
Right.
Because there for the orgy that they had. There was a door fee.
Wow.
On
and
top
how much was
of
that?
I don't know. I want to say it was 20, 30, 40. I don't know. I didn't have to pay, and I was not involved in that except
But
for
they
to
were
block
there.
my area off. But they were there. So right there, that's 15. That's 20. 2,515 is $4,000, not including the door, not including our rent.
Okay. So in that 10,000 square foot, they called it a tinderbox because it was so ready to go up in flames in terms of the debris and the items that were in the building. The fire marshal said that the staffing in the fire marshal department has been understaffed for several years. So even if someone made a complaint,
they were a block away.
Understood. Not only that, I heard Acme Fire Extinguishers Company was across the street.
Across the street.
Yet nothing, no fire extinguishers in the building.
And the fire department, he was continually talking about, before I left, the fire department was planning an event there.
Okay.
And they were, one of the guys were in there.
Wow.
And one of the guys lives on the next block.
Wow.
So the police department was in there when I was there. I want to say the last month. I called them the last week
and
3 times myself.
Okay.
Right? No, somebody else reminded me there was a 4th time when the guy pulled the gun on me.
Wow.
So Derek, if you didn't go along with what he said, if you asked for actually what he promised, if you expected electricity or a bathroom or cleanliness, or anything that would resemble a habitable living condition, then you were ostracized.
Right. Okay.
You were on the outs, and he was trying to throw you out. He was trying to get you in trouble with the police, kick you out, and keep your money.
So give us an inside view of the actual building. So on the news, it reported that there were several RVs that were inside the warehouse. Mm-hmm. How were the living quarters divided? And tell us more about this makeshift second floor that they said was actually made illegally after they took residency.
The warehouse, when I lived there, had about 6 or 7 different RVs in it. I rented actually the one that was right under where the roof caved in. There was no upstairs at the time. There was kind of like a mezzanine that kind of surrounded the area I was in. So if there was a floor there, and it sounds like they built one, they probably just built over that area for a second floor.
Okay.
There was only one real staircase, and that was in the back, and it sounds like that was blocked off.
Yes.
They didn't want people going down those stairs because they were always, all of the electricity from upstairs and downstairs usually ran either under or through those stairs or across it. So you would have to climb over it and step over it if you were a tenant there to get through it, because you knew, and usually with a flashlight, right? And when people came for events, they didn't want people walking back there, falling down the stairs or breaking their neck. And if you unplug one of those lines, everything is loaded. So there was like extension cord on extension cord on power strip on extension cord on power strip on extension cord throughout that whole place. So if you unplug one, the load's going to go somewhere else, and it's going to start a fire, and it did often.
Right.
There were 3 or 4 fires when I was there. The first one with the transformer. A couple, we smelled smoke, and we never called the fire department.
For fear of?
Well, they were, number one, they were far.
Oh, okay.
So we had fire extinguishers. We would call whoever was the guys, whoever was there at the time, to go put it out. There was always somebody there. But we could smell it. So we could smell the fire burning. We would let somebody know. We would see the fire burning. We would let somebody know. And there was 3 or 4 fires in there when I was there.
So city officials have stated that there were 50 to 100 people actually living there at the time of the fire. How many people were living there when you were there?
When I was living there, there were regular tenants, anywhere between maybe 12 and 15.
Okay.
But he would pull in homeless people from the street to help him, so he never knew who was going to be in there, right?
Okay.
And then they would leave the doors open so people could come and go. If there were, the articles I read said there were about 25 people in there.
Okay.
That there were maybe 50 to 100 in there for the event, which would have been a small event.
So let me ask, they stated, I was able to speak to a city official. Unfortunately, because of the pending investigation, they are unable to talk on camera, but they have told me that there would have been more people in the event had the flyer not been wrong.
Probably,
initially, they
because
put the wrong street.
The events there was usually more like 200, 300. So 50 to 100 people, that was a small event. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
And even still, you notice all the tenants got out except for the one that they left there with the broken foot. And why do you think that is? That's not it's not a coincidence that all the tenants got out. It's because they knew how to get around in the dark. And they know where the exits are. You could have put me in that place in the dark, and I could have found the exit. Even though they move everything every day, you could go to sleep and everything's changed over. He's neurotically moving things continuously. Number one, because he's got illegal goods going through there on a regular basis that they go out and scout for. Number two, he's a hoarder, and he pulls everything inside, and it just continually moves. So the configuration of the place changes daily.
So with that condition, talk about your safety.
Oh, there was no safety there.
There was none.
There was not even any heat there, let alone safety.
Okay.
So there were maybe 6 or 7 RVs in there.
Okay.
The shower was heated with propane tanks, which typically were stored near the bathroom upstairs. Okay. And there was a bathroom that was near the front exit. They probably had propane tanks in there, but they stored them also throughout the building. So there's usually, and if there's an event, they're going to have more tanks there.
Right.
So they have propane tanks there on a regular basis. They have cords and wires going every single where you can think of. They are. I heard Max, the guy that was the organizer for that party that night, and he was there when I was there. And he was co-signing everything. Derek did.
Right.
He's just as guilty as Derek, and so are all the other tenants there, for that matter.
Right.
If I was there, 36 people died, I'd be responsible. those people were there. They all knew what I knew. They all saw what I knew. Most of them were there when I was there, saw all of that.
And never reported
Never
and did
reported
anything.
it, and they're still coming out, oh, it was such a great place. I'm like, did you forget
That.
all the dirty stuff, the stealing, the theft, the extortion,
Right.
the guns pulled on people, the threats. I was threatened by a shotgun trying to use the bathroom. I had to call the police for that. Police were there for that.
Okay,
The police escorted me out.
That
I told
sounds
them everything when they escorted me out.
Well, let me ask, given the conditions of just the building, let alone the management, do you really think that people still would have taken residency there, given the growing housing rental market prices? Do you still think people would have lived there knowing those conditions?
There are people that are still there from 2 years ago.
Oh, wow.
A lot of the tenants were there 2 years ago. They knew all this 2 years ago. They know all about the drugs. They know all about Derek and Micah. They know all about the illegal stuff. They know all about the electricity going off. They know all about the police coming there every day. They know all about everything. And they still stayed there and didn't do anything.
So,
in fact, they helped set up.
So let me ask, just point blank, who do you think is responsible for this tragedy? Who do you think should be held accountable for the lives that were lost?
I think there's a lot of people. Of course, Derek and Micah. I think they're responsible because they headed everything up. I think all the other tenants in the house were also responsible in the warehouse because they knew and they helped set it up, and they've known all this time. A lot of them have been there for 2 years. So you can't tell me you can't find another place, because I had to move into a hotel to leave that place. You know what I'm saying? You have to do what you got to do to get out of there.
Right.
And they didn't. And they were there for 2 years, and they helped set that place up, and they got out. You notice they all got out. Nobody was in there leading people out. No, they all ran, and they left those people to die. So I think it's Derek, Micah. I think it's the police that were there on a regular basis. I know I specifically told them on regular, intervals right before I left that what was going on. There have been several other calls telling them exactly what's going on. So you don't actually need to know anything about a housing code to report that to housing.
Okay. So,
And the city.
And the city.
And the housing department.
And the housing
And the fire department.
And the fire department. Okay.
Everybody just looked the other way and let Derek do whatever he wanted to do.
Well,
and that's what he did.
I do understand that there was a call placed on November 17th, and that there have been inspectors that came to the building but never got access inside because either a resident or the owner would not tour them. Do you remember officially seeing an inspector there?
I remember them saying that they locked one out.
Okay.
And I mean, you're going to give them a couple of days. They always give you notice. It's not like they just show up, right?
Right.
They just showed up, they get in.
So,
but they give them notice.
Okay.
They spend days and, 10, 15, 20 people getting everything ready.
So,
and then he walks away because it's locked.
Well, on not taking sides, the inspector says we can't get access to a building if no one will tour us. What do you say about that?
For 30 years? Really? So you have all of these fires there. You have a police. They won't even give me my police record, just so you know. I've already requested my police records, and they are refusing to give them to me. They said, there's so many we have to look through. No, there was 4 calls. And I've gotten them before. So not from this, but from something else. So it's never been an issue. It's an issue because of this. So all you have to do is look at all of the police reports from that place.
And so they said,
welfare.
Right.
That's
well,
I want to
talk to you about that. They said that there are over 7 buildings in the Oakland area that have these same conditions. From your standpoint, as a resident there, what would you like to see changed in these environments?
Well, they say 7 buildings that are like this, but I don't think that they're like this. They may be 7 buildings with artists living in them or warehouses made over, but they don't have the same kind of dynamic that this had. These weren't just some starving artists trying to make their way. This was an extortion, theft, fraud organization for anybody that didn't go along with Derek. So those people that were in there, struggling artists, are also criminals. And they were okay with all the criminal activity going on. And that's why 36 people burnt in this building, and there aren't 36 people burning in the other buildings. Because if the artists that try to tie their warehouse to this ghost ship or going down with the ghost ship. Because unless their landlord was calling them children and they were calling their landlord daddy, then it was not the same situation. Right. If there was not extortion and gunplay and inhabitable conditions that children are in and meth heads running everywhere, criminals running everywhere 24/7, this is going on all the time. Okay. And there's no heat and there's no water and the place is filthy, their place is not like this place.
So out of all the residents, it seems like you have been very outspoken on the conditions and the welfare of not only the children living in the ghost house or ghost ship, but Derek's children as well. At any point, did child welfare come and do an investigation of the building?
Yes, they did. This was right after the orgy. The kids were actually next door. Okay. In the building up behind the bathroom. There used to be a door that goes to the next building, and there's an office and stairway down to the next warehouse area. Okay. The kids were in that office while the whole orgy was going on. They had asked the tenants if they were willing to participate, and we said no. They asked us that, they told us, oh, you can rent out your trailer for sex and you can go live in a hotel. I'm like, hell no. Right. That is not art. That has nothing to do with art.
Artistry, yep.
So they blocked my area off, but people kept getting on my roof, and I had to keep telling, going out and get the hell off my roof. And they're trying to explain to me what they're doing. I'm like, I don't need to know what you're doing. Just get the hell off my roof. Right. The people left. Mm-hmm. The next day, they did not come to clean. They brought those kids in there.
So since you have left, have you? I've heard that you have been getting threats. What has your life been like since departing the ghost ship?
Oh, much better. I don't worry about threats. I'm an old lady, and if I went tomorrow, I'd
a beautiful old lady.
I'm not worried about death or dying. None of that. I worry about my kids or things like that. So I was worried about them, and I'm not trying to get killed. So that's why I'm being careful. But they threatened me when I was there. They pulled a gun on me when I was there. Derek threatened me with shotguns, which they found in the warehouse afterwards. He threatened to shoot me with them. He had a friend of his pull a gun on me, who I found on Facebook arguing with me, that moved in after I moved out. They moved him in. Okay. Because he was never caught. And I didn't realize it until I saw it. But I could go on forever about. There's so many things I can't even remember as I'm going through and I'm talking to other people that were there. They remind me. Yeah. But there's so much there that my life has been much better. I felt like I got out alive and there was no fire back then. Mm-hmm.
Have you spoken to some of the residents that were there during the fire?
Yeah. I'm in communication with a couple of them. And one of them I just got in contact, luckily, because he interviewed with somebody and they gave me his number. Okay. But he was the guy that, he was being nice to me. He lived above me. And because he was being nice to me, Derek hated him. They were old friends. And he actually helped with the electricity. He helped do the original electricity. But because Derek was being nice to me, Derek wanted him out, got him in trouble with the police. He stole all his diabetes medicine. The guy just had, part of his foot cut off from diabetes. Right. He stole his diabetes medicine, then ransacked his place and said he stole stuff. Derek would loan you things, and then if he got mad at you, he'd call the police and say you stole them. So this is one of the guys, and another one is the one that lived right across from me.
So for the effort of time, we want to make sure that all of our Facebook viewers not only tune in, but we want to make a change in Oakland. And what your parting words to our Facebook viewers, our Facebook supporters, for people that have been struggling with this ghost ship tragedy, what would you like to say to the Bay Area?
I'd like to first of all apologize to the families of the people that died. That sometimes I feel like I didn't do enough. Like I could have said more, could have done more. I mean, even up to this, even in the last couple of months since they got those kids back, I've been thinking I should call. But evidently somebody was, right? Somebody did call when I was thinking that. So there's a whole lot more people than me know what's going on. I want to say to other people that are struggling with rent, that you have to, think about your life. It's not just about an artist. It's about the housing crisis that we're having here that just feeds victims to criminals like Derek and his wife and the other people that live there. I want to say that you don't think that this was all about starving artists. It was not all about starving artists. And when you're donating, make sure you ask where that money's going, because they consider themselves victims, but they are not victims. They are predators, and they should not be getting a dime. This is the most profitable event they've had so far, was this fire. Okay, so this fire allowed them to do GoFundMes and get all these funding for this money. I'm trying to figure out why these guys set it up. Since when does somebody under suspicion of murder, get a profit from it? But they have their GoFundMes up there. They have all of that going on. Be careful, ask where the money's going. Make sure it's not going to them. Those people set it up. They're responsible as much as the city of Oakland, the housing, the fire department, most especially the police department that was there every day, knew everything that was going on, because I know for sure I told them. I just hope that out of this, that they're going to go through and do crackdowns on all these warehouses. There's no reason for anybody to report it. That's why we didn't report it then. You're going to close this down. It's 30, 40 degrees. You're going to be out in the cold with your pet and your kid maybe. There's no kids there but theirs, but still, if that's the only option that you're giving them, it's either the truth or life.
Right.
That's what you're choosing.
And you're going to choose life.
Right. You're going to choose life.
Right.
And you shouldn't have to. There should be a way to bring a house up to code without, evicting everybody. Oakland hasn't done anything about the housing crisis up until now.
Okay. So I'm going to just say thank you so much for meeting us at this location. And we actually have a question from one of the Facebook viewers. So, Denisha, can you give us the question?
Danielle said, "What art? I never saw a flyer or an art show."
Okay, so no art, no flyer.
Hi, Danielle.
So, okay, Danielle. Danielle.
It's just hard to see in the dark. It's hard to see art in the dark.
Okay, next question.
Next question.
From Rob. Why was Stu at a hotel the night of the fire?
So
I heard that he wasn't. I've heard people that seen him there.
Oh, he was at the
earlier, and I have never seen him miss an event.
Well,
he's a big liar.
Well, I was when he was on the Today Show, which they quoted some of your commentary. They said that he was trying to leave that night so that him and his family would not be disturbed from the party, and that's why he checked in.
They don't sleep. They're meth heads. They don't sleep.
Okay. The next comment is because the CPS case against them, the kids were not allowed to attend parties.
True or not?
That could be true because that was after me. It would make sense, but why would they be there at all? Period.
Well, someone also said he was there, but the kids were at the hotel because of the CPS case. Daniel.
Yeah, that may be what they said. They're pretty good at getting around things, but I heard from other people that were there that he was there earlier in the evening, and he has never missed an event while I was there, and he's the one that orchestrates everything.
Danielle says, I know for a fact. Rob said, yeah, that's what I mean. He disappeared.
Was he known for disappearing at events?
No,
he was always
not
there.
known for disappearing at events. He's there from he orchestrates, he cleans it up, he orchestrates. He's like the slave driver, getting these people to get these things done. He doesn't disappear for events. I bet he was there for the fire and he left. Okay. I can't say that he said that. I mean that he was because I wasn't there, but I have heard that he was.
Okay. Any other questions?
Kimberly said, where can someone donate and it's going to be used for the need? Where is the need?
Okay, so I will let Shelley also answer that, but I do want to make sure that we get the right information to our viewers and the viewers of the Katrece Raine Show and really on Facebook in general. So there's been a few different outlets that we want to report on our show. The Alameda County Behavioral Health Services Counseling Service, they are there for people that are dealing with the backlash or the stress from this event. Their phone number is 1-800-268 0094. If you're wanting to donate, as Shelley said, please be careful of who you're donating to. The Red Cross is willing to accept donations in honor of the fire, so it's the www.redcross.org/fire-donation. Their phone number is also 510-595-4441. Again, be careful who you're donating to. Finally, there has been a youcaring.com website set up for the organization. Their goal was $900,000. They're currently at $853,000. This has been solicited as a solid and formidable donation line. So please get the correct information before you donate any money to the victims.
Because they all might be sound, GoFundMe's or sound ways to raise money, but you have to ask, who are you giving this to? Is it the people that are living there?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because you have to distinguish between the victims and the predators, to me. Anyway, I wouldn't want to be donating money to people that helped burn my friends and family. And that's my point. They are all could be reputable. I don't know about Red Cross. I don't like Red Cross. But I know too much about Red Cross.
It's all about views.
So, but anybody you donate to, you want to check out. And you want to, if they're, you ask them who the victim is. Is the victim the tenants that were living in the building? Because those should not be considered as victims.
We have another question.
Said the kids and Micah went to the hotel because they had a court order to not be at the warehouse, and that's why they're alive today.
Yeah. Okay. And Danielle was the person that helped orchestrate CPS taking the kids in the first place, which was fantastic because those kids should have never been there. I used to cover them with blankets when they had no shoes and no socks and no hat and no coat and nothing, and it'd be 30, 40 degrees in there.
So to finalize the show, have you spoken to Derek since this event? Because I understand that you guys have had
I have nothing
drama
to say. I have
between
nothing to say.
the two.
I already said everything I say to you today. I said to Derek,
right?
But a lot of things I can't put on here.
Right.
Derek heard me. I was speaking to Derek the whole time.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because he was the central focus of this thing, and everybody else is also responsible. But they let him do whatever he wanted, and he could have made a difference. He could have fixed that place up. He could have had a safe, clean, up-to-code place if he had wanted to. He didn't want to. He spent it all on drugs.
Well, Shelley, I want to thank you again for taking the time to come out here and talk to us. Again, Bay Area wants answers. The news has been doing a good job at reporting, but unfortunately they haven't been as detailed as you have been with us today, so we appreciate that. And we want to wish you the best and success, and please let us know if there's anything that the Katrece Raine Show can do to make sure that buildings stay up to code. We do have some connections with city officials, so we definitely would love to use them if possible. Any parting words before we let you go?
I knew this was going to happen, but I wasn't shocked. And I don't like being right all the time. People who want to say that, this is not an appropriate place to say I told you so, right? This is a place to say, look, you knew. It's not even about me telling you. Everybody told you. It's time to do something, Oakland. You waited too long, and the fact that you did nothing about cheap, expensive places and no place to live led up to this. That's what started it. Not to say that Derek wasn't a criminal before, but you just gave me so much opportunity to do this in your name.
And I would say that if you are an owner of a warehouse or a building, please get involved. Get involved and make sure that the people or the people that are running or managing your establishment is doing it up to code and they're following policy and procedures. There were numerous violations against this building. It shouldn't have even been in existence, from my understanding. And so we want to make sure that people are being responsible. Again, if you're in a situation like this and you want to get out, please reach out to the city officials, reach out to your fire departments, reach out to your police departments, and stay on them. We know that the police department has been short-staffed, the fire marshals have been short-staffed, but that's not an excuse.
We had the highest rents in the world.
As-
So tell me why they're short-staffed.
Yeah, right.
Tell me, where is the money going? We get the highest rents in the world.
Right.
Why are there no police? Why is there no housing? What, did you just throw up a bunch of, you know, you see what I'm saying? We get the highest rent in the world, but they're talking about understaffed.
Well, 7 police chiefs in 6 years.
We
Says
are
something.
in Silicon Valley. We have enough money to do whatever we need to do
Right.
if it's a priority, and it has not been.
Well, now that we have lost 36 lives, we hope that it'll be
I hope
on the
so,
forefront.
you know. I
And
hope so.
the Katrece Raine Show wants to give a heartfelt condolence and sincere sorrow to the families that have lost loved ones at the ghost ship. And again, if you are dealing with a situation like this, please contact your local officials. Contact me, contact Dee Dee, contact Charles. We'll make sure they get in the right hands. Again, thank you guys for tuning in to the Katrece Raine Show Facebook Live. Again, our first episode for 2017. We'll be back with more information on the ghost ship. And if you're interested in seeing past and present shows, please go to my webpage, www.katreceRaineShow.com. We have resources there from other situations, from the homeless to situations of murder and trying to resolve crime in Oakland. Go to the page to get resources. We're here for you. Again, thank you for tuning in to the Katrece Raine Show and Ubiquitous Entertainment and Make It Rain. Want to thank you guys for tuning in. Stay tuned for more to come. Bye-bye.
Make it rain. It's the Katrece Raine Show. Bay Area, getting the facts, that's where it's at. Yeah, it's the Katrece Raine Show. Bay Area, positivity, controversy.